I found out my wife was cheating on me because she said she was going out with her best friend, but she was with me. I know what you must be thinking. Another cheating story just like so many others. But for me, this story is unique because it changed my life in a way I never thought possible. Before diving into what happened, I need to explain what my marriage to Clara was like and why. In my mind, what I was doing was justifiable while what she did was unforgivable. Clara and I met about 10 years ago at a mutual friend's party. She was everything I could ask for. Beautiful, intelligent, and above all, independent. She wasn't the type who needed constant attention, but when we were together, it was as if the rest of the world disappeared. She had this energy that made you want to be better just to be worthy of her. In the early years, our marriage was what many would call perfect. Clara was a partner in every sense. She supported my decisions, encouraged me at work, and whenever possible, made our life lighter. But over time, things started to change. It wasn't all at once, but the spark began to fade. What had once been a marriage full of passion and partnership slowly turned into a routine devoid of excitement. I, like any man, had my needs. Clara, however, seemed less and less interested. Always busy with work, friends, or her own hobbies, I started to feel neglected. I'm not saying this justifies what I did, but I want you to understand the context. It was in that void that Amanda stepped in. Amanda, Clara's best friend, was practically part of our family. She was there at birthdays, holidays, and even on trips. She had always been close to Clara, but over time, I noticed she seemed more interested in me than she should. At first, it was just innocent jokes, longer than usual conversations, and looks that I thought might mean something more. I resisted for a while. When I finally gave in, it was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Amanda made me feel desired again. She was young, fun, and full of energy. And honestly, I believed I was just fulfilling my masculine needs. In my mind, I wasn't truly cheating on Clara because I still loved her. It was purely physical, something I thought men needed, and something she would never understand. But I was certain Clara would never do something like that. She had always been so ethical, so proper. I believed that as long as I kept things under control, no one would get hurt. But I underestimated people's ability to keep secrets. That afternoon in particular, Clara called me while she was at work. I was in a hotel with Amanda at that exact moment, enjoying our time together. When I saw Clara's name on my phone, I motioned for Amanda to stay quiet and picked up. "Hey, love," Clara said cheerfully. "I just wanted to let you know that I'm meeting up with Amanda after work today. We need to catch up on some things, you know? So don't wait for me for dinner." Amanda, who was lying next to me, nearly choked on her laugh. I covered the phone's microphone with my hand and gave her a look of disbelief and irritation. She just shrugged, clearly amused by the situation. "Sure, no problem," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "Enjoy your time with Amanda." "Thanks, love. I love you," Clara said before hanging up. I stared at my phone for a moment, trying to process what had just happened. Amanda didn't seem surprised at all, which irritated me further. "Did you know she was going to use you as an excuse?" I asked, still trying to control my anger. "I had no idea," Amanda replied, but there was something in her tone that made me suspicious. "But it's funny, isn't it? You do this all the time. Clara's just learning how to play the same game." Those words hit me like a punch. I knew Amanda was right, but my pride wouldn't let me admit it. I got up and started getting dressed. I needed answers. If Clara wasn't with Amanda, then where was she? And with whom? "What are you going to do?" Amanda asked as she watched me put on my shirt. "I'm going to find out what's going on," I replied flatly. I grabbed my things and left the hotel room, ignoring Amanda's protests. In my mind, I knew Clara had crossed a line. It was one thing for me to do what I did because I was still the provider, the dedicated husband. But her? She had no right to do this to me. When I got home, my mind was racing. I needed to figure out how to confront Clara without revealing too much of what I already knew. I decided to wait for her to come back, and in the meantime, I started going through our messages and shared accounts for clues. That's when I found something that made my blood run cold. A dinner reservation in her name for that very night. And it wasn't just any restaurant. It was a place Clara knew I hated, which made it even more obvious she wasn't planning to invite me. The question now was, who was she going with? I sat there, my hands trembling and my heart pounding as I tried to process everything I had just discovered. I couldn't believe what I had seen at that restaurant. Clara, my wife, the woman I had built a life with, was sitting with another man, laughing and acting in a way that left no doubt. Every gesture, every look, every smile confirmed what I already feared. Driving home in silence, my mind was in turmoil. I wanted to scream, to punch something, to confront her right then and there, but I knew it wasn't the right time. I needed to keep a cool head, to be strategic. If there was one thing I had learned from my own indiscretions, it was that the truth rarely came out in chaos. I had to be patient. I had to understand everything before making a move. When I got home, the darkness and silence of the house hit me like a reminder of my loneliness. I sat on the couch, unable to move, trying to process what had just happened. I knew Clara would be home late, so I had time to think. But my mind kept returning to that image. Her, with him, laughing in a way I hadn't seen her laugh with me in years. Who was that man? I recognized him, not up close, but enough to know he was someone from her work. Clara had mentioned his name a few times in passing, always casually. Daniel is leading the new project, or Daniel suggested this spot for the meeting. I had never thought of him as a threat, but now everything clicked. The late work nights, the last-minute meetings, the networking events. It was him. It had always been him. I decided to investigate. I couldn't rely on what I had just seen. I pulled out my phone and started searching social media. It didn't take long to find his profile. Daniel Martinez. His profile picture showed a confident man, smiling, with the air of someone who knew exactly what he wanted and how to get it. I scrolled through his posts, his comments, trying to find something that would confirm what I already knew deep down. And there it was. Photos from work events, posts with colleagues, and in several of them, there was Clara. In one, they were sitting next to each other, their bodies leaning in a way that seemed far too intimate. In another, they were at what appeared to be a team dinner, and Clara had that same smile I had seen at the restaurant. A smile that hadn't been for me in a long time. My chest filled with rage, but also something else, a deep sense of humiliation. How had it come to this? How had I let things fall apart so completely? I had always thought that, while I had my moments, Clara was above all that. But now I saw she wasn't. She had secrets too, and the worst part was that she had been so good at hiding them that I hadn't noticed until now. As I scrolled further, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Clara. Love, the night's running a little long. I might be later than I expected. Don't wait up. Love you. I read those words and let out a bitter laugh. The audacity, the ease with which she lied to me, was almost admirable. I took a deep breath and replied something brief, trying not to reveal anything I was feeling. That's fine, love. Enjoy your night. I turned off my phone and closed my eyes, trying to calm myself. I needed a plan. I couldn't just confront her without more proof. I needed to be sure to know every detail. If I was going to face her, I wanted her to have no way out, no chance to deny it. And most of all, I wanted her to feel what I was feeling at that moment. Hours passed, and finally, I heard the sound of the key in the door. Clara walked in, looking tired but content, as if she'd had a perfect evening. She looked at me and smiled. "Hi, love," she said as she placed her bag on the table. "The night was amazing. Amanda says hi." I looked at her, trying to keep my expression neutral. Every word she said was like a knife, but I smiled back and nodded. "Glad you had fun," I replied, my voice as calm as I could manage. She walked over and gave me a kiss on the cheek before heading upstairs. I stayed on the couch, staring into the void. As much as I wanted to scream at her, to demand answers, I knew it wasn't the right time. Not yet. That night, I didn't sleep. My mind kept working, connecting the dots, remembering all the times Clara had come home late, all the excuses I had accepted without question. The rage inside me grew, but so did something else, determination. I was going to find out everything, every lie, every detail, every moment she had hidden from me. And when I was ready, Clara would know exactly what I knew. For now, I would play the role of the clueless husband, as if nothing had changed. But inside, something was already broken, something that could never be repaired. This wasn't over. Not for me, and not for her. And deep down, Clara had no idea what was coming. That sleepless night, my mind was in turmoil. The weight of what I had discovered about Clara consumed me, but I knew I needed to vent. Amanda seemed like the only person who could listen to me at that moment. Despite all the confusion, she was the only one who truly knew what was happening, even if only partially. The next afternoon, I sent Amanda a message. "I need to see you. It's urgent." She replied almost immediately. "The usual hotel?" I knew she thought it would just be another one of our meetings, but for me, it was more than that. I needed answers. When I arrived at the hotel, Amanda was already there, waiting for me with that confident smile she always had. She looked stunning, as always, but my mind was elsewhere, caught in thoughts about Clara. "You look tense," Amanda said as she stood to greet me. "I am," I replied, my voice dry. "A lot is going on. Amanda raised an eyebrow and smiled provocatively, stepping closer. Maybe I can help you relax, she said with a suggestive tone. I held her by the shoulders, stopping her from going further. She looked surprised, but I knew I needed to clear things up before doing anything else. Clara is cheating on me, I said bluntly. Amanda stepped back, her surprise turning into a mix of disbelief and irony. You've got to be kidding me, right? She asked, letting out a slight laugh. I saw it with my own eyes. I continued, ignoring her tone. She was at a restaurant with a coworker. They were holding hands, laughing, as if nothing else in the world mattered. Amanda looked at me for a moment and then laughed sarcastically. Lucas, do you hear yourself? You're literally here with me, cheating on your wife, and you're mad because she did the same? It's different, I retorted firmly. I'm a man. I have needs. This means nothing to me. But her? She was supposed to be faithful. She destroyed our marriage. Amanda laughed again, but this time she seemed unwilling to argue. Lucas, you're a lost cause. But you know what? I won't argue. If you need to unload your frustration, I'm here. She stepped forward and pulled me close, kissing me. For a moment, I hesitated, but soon I gave in. There was no point resisting. Amanda knew exactly what to say and do to make me forget, at least temporarily, what was happening. The tension of the moment quickly disappeared, and we gave into each other as we had so many times before. For a while, the world was silent, and Clara and everything she had done seemed like a distant problem. But when it was over, I knew it wasn't enough. It didn't solve anything. I needed to act. As Amanda lay back on the bed, smoking a cigarette and smiling contentedly, I got up and started getting dressed. You're still going after her, aren't you? Amanda asked, her tone a mix of curiosity and disdain. I am, I replied without hesitation. She needs to know that I know, and she needs to understand that there's no turning back. Amanda didn't respond, just shook her head as if she already expected that answer. When I left the hotel, my decision was made. The next day, I took the photos I had of Clara and Daniel at the restaurant and went to her office. I wasn't nervous anymore. I was determined. Clara needed to feel the humiliation I had felt. I arrived at the building around noon. I passed through reception without difficulty and went up to her floor. When I entered, she was in a meeting with a few people. I knocked hard on the door, interrupting the conversation. All eyes turned to me, including hers. Lucas, what are you doing here? She asked, surprised and clearly uncomfortable. We need to talk. Now, I said firmly. She hesitated but stood up, probably realizing I wouldn't leave without speaking to her. She followed me to a more secluded corner, away from the curious eyes. What's going on? She asked, trying to stay calm. Without saying anything, I took the photos out of the folder and placed them on the table between us. She looked at them, and I saw her expression change. First came surprise, then guilt. Do you want to explain this to me? I asked, my voice low but full of anger. Lucas, I can explain. I don't want explanations. I cut her off. You destroyed our marriage, Clara. Lies, betrayals. And for what? I gave you everything. Everything. She tried to speak, but I didn't let her. I respected you, Clara. And this is how you repay me? With Daniel? A coworker? You two laughing at me while I was at home. Working to maintain this pathetic life you clearly don't value. I continued, my voice filled with anger and resentment. While I was working hard, while I was doing everything for us, you were laughing with him, lying to me, destroying everything we built together. Clara was visibly shaken. Her hands trembled as she looked at the photos I had placed on the table. Her eyes filled with tears, but she said nothing. There were no excuses, no attempts to deny it. Just the silence of someone who knew they were completely exposed. Is this what you wanted, Clara? I went on, my voice growing firmer. Did you want to throw away everything we had? For some random guy from work? What does he give you that I don't? Fun? Attention? What, Clara? Lucas, please, she finally managed to say, her voice weak and trembling. Please what? I retorted, cutting her off. You had the chance to be honest, Clara. You could have talked to me, told me something was wrong. But no, you chose this. You chose to lie, to cheat, to destroy. Clara started crying, covering her face with her hands. The sound of her sobs seemed to echo in the isolated corner of the office, but I felt no empathy. I was consumed by a mix of anger and satisfaction at seeing her finally face the consequences of her actions. I don't want to hear excuses, Clara, I continued, my voice now colder. I've already made my decision. I'm filing for divorce. And I hope you and your Daniel are very happy together because you've ruined everything we had. She tried to say something, but her words were barely audible between her sobs. I didn't wait to listen. I grabbed my things and walked out, leaving her there, broken and alone. As I passed through the common area of the office, Clara's colleagues looked on curiously, probably trying to figure out what was happening. I didn't care. Clara deserved every bit of that humiliation. I went home with a sense of relief, as if I had finally shed a weight that had been crushing me. But at the same time, there was an emptiness. Even with all my anger, even knowing I was right to confront her, there was no complete satisfaction. Something in me knew the situation was more complicated than I wanted to admit. Later that night, Amanda texted me, "Can we meet tomorrow? We need to talk." I agreed. I knew she had probably already heard about the confrontation with Clara. Their worlds were too intertwined for something like this to go unnoticed. The next day, I met Amanda at the same hotel as always. She seemed tense, unlike her usual self. She sat on the edge of the bed, crossing her arms, as if preparing for something difficult. Clara came to see me, she said, getting straight to the point. My expression hardened. What did she say? "She's devastated, Lucas," Amanda replied, her voice softer than I expected. She told me what happened at work, about the photos, about the divorce. "She doesn't know I'm involved with you, of course, but she's completely broken." I rolled my eyes, unable to stop myself. "She destroyed our marriage, Amanda. She deserved this. What else did you expect me to do? Stay silent and let her keep laughing behind my back?" Amanda sighed, as if battling something within herself. Finally, she spoke. "I'm not going to argue whether she deserved it or not, but Clara is my best friend, Lucas. She came to me to vent, and I felt horrible because I know I'm betraying her too. This isn't right." My anger began to rise again. "Amanda, I've already told you, this is different. Clara chose to cheat. She lied to me. We both know this has nothing to do with what's happening between us." "Lucas," Amanda said, interrupting me. "I'm not saying she's right, but I can't continue this right now. Not while Clara is suffering so much. I need some time." "Time?" I repeated, incredulous. "Amanda, are you seriously ending this because of her? After everything she did?" "Yes," Amanda replied firmly. "Because in the end, Clara is my friend. And even if she was wrong, I'm wrong too. We both are." I stayed silent, trying to absorb her words. Part of me wanted to argue, to convince her that what we had was different, that Clara was the real culprit. But deep down, I knew Amanda had made up her mind. "Fine," I finally said, standing up. "If that's what you want, so be it. But no, this doesn't change anything. Clara ruined the marriage, not me. I don't regret what I did." Amanda didn't respond, just looked at me with a mix of sadness and resignation. I left the hotel, once again alone, but now with the feeling that something else had broken. As I walked down the street, one thing was clear. I was right. Clara had crossed a line that could never be undone. And even if Amanda had decided to step away, I knew that deep down, everything that had happened was Clara's fault. At least, that's what I told myself.